Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. My name is Nurul Alishan binti Hakimi.
And my name is Siti Hajar binti Munir. So today we are going to present about article review. For introduction, social linguistics explores how social norms, stereotypes, and expectations shapes men's and women's speech. Research such as Robin Lakoff 1975 study has identified linguistic features typical of women's speech, like text questions, interference, and polyforms. Gender and language studies use both empirical research, which examines real-world settings like workplace and school, and theoretical approach that analyze language patterns. Scholars like Baxter 2012, February 2013, and Mahmood 2017 have highlighted the role of gender in communication. Since language reflects social ideologies and gender roles, this study focuses on how social and situational factors influence women's speech in research seminars, helping us understand gendered communication in professional setting.
Next is article summary. For article 1, the title is Women Language as Reflected in the Communication Style of Presenter in Research Seminar. The author is Rizky Ayu Lestari. Date of research is 2018. And the summary of the research purpose is the goal of this paper is to evaluate dominant women speakers' communication style in research seminar against linguistic traits of women defined by Robin Lakoff, 1975. It takes into consideration the use of linguistic traits and how these contribute to other types of communications and how these interact in educational discussions. The research purpose is to advance our understanding in the ways in which social and situational characteristics of institutional influence gendered communication and linguistic action. Next is respondent details. Age is no specific details and occupation is postgraduate student from the English Education Department at the State University of Makassar, enrolled in the 2016 and 2017 academic year. Additional context is they participated in this research seminar where their spoken language was observed and analyzed. The study used purposive sampling to select these respondents, focusing on their communication style and linguistic features during academic presentations.
Article summary for Article 2, title, Social Linguistics and Women's Language. Author, Zhu Jiaoleng. Date of research, 2023. So for summary of research, the objective of this article is to provide a critical sociolinguistic examination of the concept women's language. It dispels stereotyping that women use more polite, hesitant, or emotional speech, and assert that social status, setting, and personality factors are more liable to cause variation in language than gender. The paper attempts at a more balanced description of the social contextual variation of women's language by considering both theoretical and empirical work. It also points to direction in future research that places contextual variable in perspective. For respondent details, as the paper is a review of the literature and not an empirical study of participants, it does not provide detailed information about respondents. It primarily cites previous theoretical and empirical studies of women's language and cites a number of studies that have been conducted in various contexts, such as media representations, workplace, and courtrooms.
Next is author contribution for Article 1. This study looked at how female students in academic research seminar use language features like hedges, intensifiers, and polite forms based on Robin Lakoff 1975 work. By studying postgraduate students in English educational course, it shows how academic setting influence women's speech. A key finding is cultural time gaining, where hedges help speakers organize thought and manage time rather than just filling space. This is especially true for non-native English speakers under pressure. The study also highlights how power dynamics and communication style shape speech in formal setting. This insight can help linguists, educators, and trainers support women in developing confident speaking skills. Overall, the study emphasized the impact of social and cultural factors on language and encouraged further research and gendered communication in workplace and institutional. Next is strength for Article 1. The first one is empirical approach. Based on real academic research seminar, ensuring data is grounded in actual interaction rather than speculations. Focus on women discourse. Examines postgraduate women's speech in professional setting, making the finding relevant to gendered communication studies. The third one is detailed analysis of linguistic device. Identify how women use language to express doubt, soften statements, or emphasize points. Next is impact of communication style. Shows how dominant focus, dynamic, and casual style influence speech, shaped by situation, personality, and gender. Next is introduction of cultural time gaining. Extend lexical hedge theories by identify a new hedging function for time management and thought organizations. Next is recognition of linguistic and cultural influence. Highlight how speech patterns vary, especially for non-native English speakers in multilingual environments. The last one is future research potential. Encourage further studies on language used in multicultural and professional setting. Next is weaknesses. The first one is small sample size. The study only examines 5 female postgraduate students, making it difficult to generalize findings to a larger university populations. The second one is lack of female comparison. Without analyzing male speakers, it is unclear whether the identified linguistic features are unique to women or common in academic discourse. The third one is limited to research seminar. Findings may not apply to other communication settings like office meetings or casual conversation as university presentation are more formalized. The next one is contextual limitation. Gender difference in communication style would be better illustrated by comparing both male and female speakers across various settings. Next is impact of English proficiency. Participants were non-native English speakers, meaning linguistic features like hedging and rising intonation might be influenced by language ability rather than gender. Difficulty in distinguishing factors. The study cannot separate the effect of gender from second language acquisitions, challenge making it unclear if language patterns result from sociolinguistic factor of English proficiency. Next is future research recommendation. Expanding the study to larger and more diverse sample, including native English speakers and multilingual speakers is in non-native English environment will improve generalizability.
Next is for author contribution Article 2, Zhou Jiaoleng and Bo Wang argue that language differences are shaped more by social status, situation, and personality than by gender alone. They challenge two traditional views. First one is the dominance approach, which says men control speech through power, and for the second one is the difference approach, which says men and women speak differently because of socialization. They believe both are too simple. Their research based on studies in workplace, courtrooms, and media shows that context, job roles, and social status influence language more than gender. They argue future studies to focus on real-world speech instead of broad gender comparison and to consider situational factors, relationships, and social roles when studying communication. Next is strength for the Article 2. First is thorough analysis. The sample is examines the key theories on gendered language, dominance approach, and differences approach. Second is context matters more than gender, shows that language use depends on setting, social structure, and relationship, not just gender. There is real-world examples, includes studies on women's language used in the workplace, courts and media, not just at home. Next is challenges stereotype. The example is refutes the idea that women's speech is always more polite, tentative or emotional. And for last is encourage new research. Suggest that studying language used in specific professions like judges, lawyer and businesswomen. Next is for witnesses, Article 2. No original research. For example, the study is based on past research and does not provide new empirical data. Second is lacks clear guidelines for future research. No specific methods on how to study external factors influencing language. Third is ignores intersectionality. It's a focus only on gender without considering race, class or culture. Next is does not address digital communication. For example, fails to explore how social media and online conversations shape gendered language. For similarities, both articles examine women's language from a sociolinguistic perspective based on Rabin-Lekov 1975 research. First one is focus on how social factors influence women's speech rather than direct comparison with men's speech. Next is analyze key linguistic features such as intensifiers, tag questions, lexical hedges, super polite forms, and then next is agree that women's language is shaped by power dynamics rather than being a sign of weakness. Lastly is highlight that women frequently hedge and use politeness strategies in their speech.
Next is the differences. The first one is scope. For Article 1 is focus on women's language in research seminar. For Article 2 cover various social, work and judicial contexts. Next is methodology. For Article 1 is use an empirical case study approach, and for Article 2 is provide a theoretical summary of multiple studies. For findings, for Article 1 is lexical hedges are most commonly used linguistic strategy, and for Article 2 is explore how social roles, locations and power position affects women's speech. Next is perspective. For Article 1 is examines women postgraduate student in an academic setting. For Article 2 is review existing study without conducting original research. The last one is contributions. For Article 1 is show real life example of women's use language in a specific setting. For Article 2 is provide a broader sociolinguistic perspective on women's speech. Next is finding. For Article 1, female students use 7 out of 10 women's language features, like of 1975. Most common is hedges, intensifiers, and emphatic stress, and rising intonations. These features show uncertainty or help manage speech in academic setting. 5 out of 6 women language functions were used. The first one is emphasizing points, expressing uncertainty, showing emotion, starting conversation, softening a statement, and soliciting a response was missing, likely due to the formal structure nature of seminar. Speech style is influence language use. Dominant speakers use more women's language features. Relaxed speakers use them the least, showing confidence and reduce hedging. Next is implication. Power effect language use. Women adjust speech based on setting. The first one is encourage assertive speaking, not excessive hedging. Educators should help students build confident communication skill. The future research study language in workplace or politics. The cultural time gaining hedges may help culture ideas, not just show up.
For finding Article 2, first one is women's language is not naturally different from men's. Next is speech change based on social status, context, personality, not just gender. A third one is power matters more than gender in communication styles. Next is high status women speak directly and confidently. Lastly is low status men use more polite and hesitant speech, showing language reflects social hierarchies. While for implication, first one is organization should avoid stereotypes when judging communication style. Next is assertive women are not aggressive and polite men are not weak. Teachers and trainers should teach situational communication skill rather than gender norms.
Next is future research direction. For Article 1, the first one is compare male and female speech. Further studies should include men to see if hedging politeness and intensifies gender speech or just part of formal speech. The second one is expand beyond academic setting. Studies should look at everyday talk, political debates, and business meetings to see if women's speech change. The third one is consider culture and language difference. Past studies involve non-native English speakers, so speech pattern might be due to language learning, not gender.
For future research direction Article 2, first one is speech in different professions. Instead of generalizing, research should compare judges, CEOs, politicians, teachers and lawyers to see how power affects speech. Second is intersectionality. Women's speech is shaped by gender, race, class, ethnicity and culture. Third one is generational change. Do younger women speak differently than older generation due to the changing gender roles?
Next is conclusion. For conclusion, study shows that social status and contact affects women's language more than gender. In academics, women use hedging to organize ideas, not to show hesitations. Power, not biology, shapes speech style. This finding can help make media, education, and workplace more fair in evaluating communication. That's all from us.
Thank you.